Buenas and half a day, todos hamzu, ananasitos, many of God's blessings to all of us here this morning, especially during our 80th liberation of those who suffered the atrocities and survived World War II. So as we celebrate the 80th anniversary, I'd like to extend a happy Liberation Day to all of you guys here and to those listening at home. So this hearing by the Committee on Human Resources, Agana Revitalization, Regional Affairs, Public Libraries, Telecommunications, Technology, and Federal and Foreign Affairs is called to order. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. And for the record, and in accordance with 5 GCA Chapter 8, Section 8107, public hearing notices were sent on July 11, 2024, adhering to the 5-day notice requirement, and a second public notice was on July 16, 2024, 48 hours prior. In addition, this hearing was noticed on the legislature's website at www.guamlegislature.com, the Government of Guam's public notice website, and through a TV advertisement on PBS Guam. Written testimony, ladies and gentlemen, may be submitted by emailing Senator Muña at guamlegislature.org, or you may hand deliver it to our office at Suite 411, 134 West Soledad Avenue, Hagåtña, Guam. Joining me here this morning, I'd like to welcome Senator Tello Taidagui from Inilan. Thank you, Senator, for joining us. And before we proceed with the discussion, I would first like to provide some general rules of conduct and all who are in attendance. The conduct of this hearing shall be as follows. 1, those testifying will be recognized in the order of the sign-up sheet. Sign up on the sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read and submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Lengthy testimony should be summarized to 5 minutes. Once you are done, please remain in the room for any questions by our colleagues. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance or nature of the agenda. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violations of this general rule of conduct will result in removal of the hearing room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name for the record and where you're from. Those who do not follow these rules of engagements will also be removed from this public hearing room. And before I go further, I'd like to thank my good colleague, Senator Chris Duenas, for being here this morning. Mananasinzos. Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, today's hearing, there will be a slight change in today's agenda. The hearing on Resolution 441-37 as sponsored by myself, Vice Speaker Tina Muña Barnes, Senator Jesse Lahan, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas, and Senator Joe St. Augustine, which is relative to expressing the support of H.R. 8786 introduced in the United States House of Representatives, which seeks to provide for a cabotage exemption for foreign air carriers landing in Guam or the Northern Mariana Islands, will be postponed until a later date. We will hear this resolution alongside another similar resolution which has the same stakeholders, and at the request of the other sponsor, I, as the oversight chair, will accommodate that and share the respect to having both resolutions have a public hearing together. So, but if anyone still wishes and would like to provide written testimony on Resolution 441-37, as I previously noted, please submit it to the committee staff at the back or email it to Senator Muña Barnes at guamlegislature.org, or again, you can send it to our office at the Bank of Hawaii Building, 411 West Soledad Avenue, Hagåtña, Guam, 96910. So thank you very much for your understanding. So that brings us to the next item on the agenda. We will now move on to the confirmation hearing on the reappointment of Marissa Q. Mars, member of the General Public Representative, Guam Public Library Systems. I will recognize those in order according to the sign-in sheet. So when I call your name, please have a seat at the table in front of us, state your name for the record, and then you may begin your testimony. I do know that we did receive a couple of other testimonies, and I don't see them here today. Mr. Nolan G.T. Flores, who was in support, and is Dr. Matilda Rivera here? No, right? So she also gave a letter of support. Is there a June Afflequi? Not here. She gave a letter of support. And Janelle Garrido Cruz, also written testimony of support. So all the letters that have come in to the committee thus far is in support of the reappointment. So let us begin. I'm going to say Bernadita M. Kitachai. Did you want to present oral testimony, but just for support? Just for support? Please. Martha Q. Davis, you can come up. Is that Will? Mr. Mears? Just here for support. And Dr. Chris from the Guam Public Libraries, please join us up here. And Miss Marissa Mears, you're more than welcome to come up and sit at the table. I'll have all of them speak first before you take your turn, okay? Also joining us this morning, colleagues and to the listening audience, is Senator Chris Barnett. Thank you so very much and good morning for joining us this morning. So I will start with Miss Bernadita M. Kitachai.
Hi, good morning.
Oops.
I'm here in support for Marissa Q. Mears. I have known her for quite a while, and also she has been a co-worker with the Guam Public Library. She retired, and she has moved forward to continue doing her community service with the library. She is really in support with the growing with the children's knowledge, as well as the support with the director that established the Guam Public Library. So it's a great honor to be here to represent that and to give you a heart-opening understanding that I really select her for that position. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Ms. Kitachai. But just for the record, can you just state your name for the record?
Please forgive me. Kitachai Bernadita, and then my middle initial is Mendiola.
And where are you from?
Residents of Dadito.
Thank you so very much. And then the next one is Martha Q. Davis.
Good morning, Vice Speaker, members of the Senate, and to our Board of Directors for the Guam Library, and our fellow guests here today. It is my honor to speak on behalf of my sister, Marissa Mears. My name is Martha Quintanilla Davis. I reside in Hurst, Texas. I am here visiting, which I do annually, And so I always take the opportunity to join whatever events or where I could actually speak on behalf of our people of Guam, and as well participate and be hands-on. So I would be remiss if I didn't speak today as well in my sister's support on her reconfirmation hearing today. My sister Marissa is one of the second eldest in our family. So I could actually safely say that I've known her for all of my 64 years. And growing up, she's been with, she worked in the library for over 20 years before her retirement. I remember summer programs and stuff like that. She would take us to the library. So instead of sitting at home doing nothing, come to the library and read books and stuff. And she's a very strong advocate of literacy and in speaking on behalf of the children and stuff like that in the library. I remember all the programs that she has actually enlightened us to. She is constantly on our family chat, constantly sending out links to the library programs and stuff like that. So she is promoting awareness and stuff. I wholeheartedly support her reconfirmation today. And again, thank you for the opportunity of speaking on her behalf. Thank you.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for being here this morning. Doc?
My name is Chris Sirangan. I'm the director of Guam Public Library System. I'm here to support wholeheartedly to Mrs. Marissa Mears. And she was, before she became a member of the library board, she worked for the library in a different capacity. She worked in Dedido branch, Agate, Jonia, Marissa, and Berigada. So she worked all these branch libraries, including our Navy's Flores Memorial Library in Hakatnia. I known her last for 10, 11 years when she started being a member of the board. She's very passionate what she's doing, when she was in the library. She worked very well with everybody. She's a great team player. Even today, as a board member, she works very well with other board members as well as other staff in the library. I often call her to clarify some of the historical information. She's never declined any kind of information that I asked her. She's very supportive. She's one of the very supportive board member to our library administration. And I'm just happy to be here to support her to Marissa being a board member.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. And at this time, I will allow for Ms. Marissa Mears, Quintanilla Mears, please, for your statement.
Good morning. Sorry. Good morning and Afade. Buenas todos. Madam Speaker, the senators here, Ms. Tello and Chris, Renee, and Mr. Our Director Sirangan. I thank you all for all the support that you have given me throughout my tenure as a board member, and I thank you for your continued support. Okay. Thank you. Where am I? And trust in me for another term as one of your library board of directors. So let's continue to move the library forward in promoting literacy and other library services. Sijus Maase.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Mears. And before I turn over the mic to my colleagues, I want to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to volunteer from your heart to give back to our community for your service. You've been in the library system since 1973, And I wouldn't say I wasn't bored because I was, I was in middle school, I think, then.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, anyone who has that many years of service, the love that they have for continuing to help our children learn and to teach them so that they can be better, productive citizens in the community. And it's just amazing. You were at the Gagnon Library, you were at the Tripler Hospital Library, you were at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, you were at the Maricopa County, Phoenix area, and then you came back. And when you came back home, you came right back to the library, and that just shows the heart, the commitment, and the love you have for our children, and moreover our community, and then of course the library. So yes, I want to say for the record and to the listening audience, you will get my 100% support, and hoping we can get it on the next agenda and make sure the reports are done. As noted earlier, Ms. Mears, that this appointment received a lot of letters of support, and we will make sure that all those letters are appended to the journal, and to the committee report, so that it will show that they supported you too. So I will start. Senator Tello Taitagui was here first. Senator, good morning. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to you, and of course to my colleagues that are here, but most especially to those who are here testifying this morning. It's also nice to have family here to testify, so I'm sure, Marissa, you're having your sister here. It's a perfect timing, coming to Guam to be here and testify on your behalf. I'm sorry, I didn't get your first name again?
Martha.
Martha.
Yes.
Okay, well, welcome, Viva Liberation. I think it's a perfect timing. It is our 80th, as the Vice Speaker mentioned earlier. So it's a great time to be home right now to celebrate a milestone with liberation coming up. So again, I appreciate everyone being here to testify. I just have some questions to ask Marissa. Thank you for serving, actually, these years in this capacity as a board member. I have a question to ask you with regards to the other board members, because I noticed that on the website there is no chair of the board and no vice chair that it's mentioned. Is there a chairperson sitting on? Did you elect a chairperson or a vice chair yet?
He wrote in a letter of support. His name is Nolan. What's his last name?
Nolan Flores.
Nolan Flores, right.
So is he the elected chairperson of the board? Marissa?
Is he,
Nolan Flores, is he the elected chairperson of your board?
Yes.
Okay,
ma'am.
who's the vice chair?
I am.
You're the vice chair.
the vice
Okay. Well, it's always usually the vice chair that does most of the hard work. So thank you for that. And I have kept an eye on the website as well and look at it. And there's a lot of great programs that your sister mentioned. And it's going strong. And thank you for being so proactive when it comes to that. Because a lot of times board members that sit in this capacity, and I scrutinize everyone that comes here because it's not fair for you get board members of about 5 people sitting on the board, but really only 1 or 2 of them really do the homework. And they go home, they study, they look at opportunities to better where they're sitting in, their capacity of the agency that they're overseeing. And others just show up and just look on the other side and see who's voting, how you're voting, without even doing the hard work and the study. Sitting on boards, it takes a lot of time and your personal time, and you don't get paid for it most of the time. There's no stipends. I don't think you guys receive a stipend or anything. Do you?
We do.
Oh, you do. How much is your stipend?
But it's $50
$50 per month?
per month.
Per month. Well, that'll probably get you the gas to and from your
Yeah.
meeting,
That's true. So
and whatever else it takes to do the research that is needed for this board. Library, I don't take it lightly. I think the library is very important for our community, and whatever direction it's going into, going more digital, it still needs to be there. This is a place where people who don't have the means are able to show up. And I do want to say, Mr. Director, that you have a very strong and hardworking staff. They've been hounding me to get my card nonstop. I mean, Flo over there she kept on it and on until I finally got my my library card and registered on. So I know they're very dedicated individuals. So, Marissa, I do have a question. You've been there at the library for quite some time, so you know most of those employees that are there. And we're starting to see an exodus, of people retiring, more people retiring. Yeah. And is there anything that the board is trying to encourage or recruit? Because I do also know you're shorthanded at the library. Is the board getting involved with that?
Well, when I retired, it was to take care of my mom. But I wish I could have continued working. But then most of us retired because of our age, I guess. And then, but our problem there at the library, the reason why that we are so short-staffed is we're just not funded to hire more staff, And I don't want this to be like a budget hearing, but I mean, we put out the budget and we say we need this many staff, but yet why is it cut, I mean, it's like they're saying, no, we don't need staff. And right now, Mr. Director Seringen is really trying to open up the branch libraries to 5 days a week. And we still have our bookmobile that is not operational right now. So we are trying to, through IMLS, which is our grant funder, we're trying to get one of those cargo van. But we had a meeting yesterday, and according to our director, they didn't have the kind of van that we need here on the island. So instead of waiting for our bookmobile to get fixed, which ever since it was down, ever since we had the reopening of the library up to now, we fixed one problem, and then there's another problem with it. So we decided that we're going to go ahead and maybe get 2 vans so that we could service north and south.
Oh, good. It's thinking outside the box and trying something.
Programs,
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought this up. And then, this is part of being a board, to advocate, for the library on the needs at the library. And I think it's a great idea that you've decided to get the smaller vans, thinking outside the box that you can service. Actually, 2 is better than 1, even though 1 is bigger. So, does the board evaluate the director's performance? Do they do an evaluation like yearly or?
We are working on that. I'm actually on the evaluation team. Mm-hmm. So we're getting it done. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just.
You've been sitting on the board for how long now?
I think since not 19.
It's okay.
2017.
2017, quite
Yes.
some time.
Yes.
So this will be your, how many appointments now you've been?
I'm thinking, I'm not sure if this is my 3rd or my 4th.
4th one.
Probably
4th
my
one.
4th, yeah.
Okay. I always tell those who've been sitting on the board for quite some time, and this is a 3-year appointment. I'd always ask that you find somebody out there in the public who can work just as hard as you, someone who has the passion and love that you do, that you've been performing these past, years, to do, to kind of groom them. Because one day, we're all going to retire. We're all going to want to do something different or spend time with grandchildren or, travel. And I'd hate to see the library lose such a prize like yourself, who's been such a great contributor, amazing contributor to the library, not only worked there, but now sitting on the board. So I hope, Marissa, that you can Go out there and find somebody, to encourage them to do and give that institutional knowledge and history that you have and to the next generation as you move forward. And I hope that you two really work quickly on that evaluation, of the director. That's very important. There's got to be accountability with everything. I mean, they're doing a great job. They should be recognized as doing a great job. If not, then people need to know that too. It's being transparent, but mostly being accountable for what the taxpayers are paying for. Okay, so that being said, Madam Chair, I thank you for the opportunity, and I didn't want to miss this. I think the library is a very important agency, and we'll do everything we can to try and help you. But, keep advocating for funding if you need it. You don't need the director. The board members can send a letter to this body. Budget season is coming up, and this is the opportunity to ask when you need it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Senator Tadagui. Senator Chris Duenas, Manana Sizuas.
Manana Sizus, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, Ms. Mears, and thank you once again for your willingness to serve and accepting the governor's appointment. And to your dear sister, thank you for coming back to Guam again on your annual trek. Certainly great timing for the 80th. So it's just, I always love to see people who have such institutional knowledge and committed their career to something and then continuing on in service beyond that. Like you said, it's a $50 stipend, is really nothing. And so obviously you're doing this from your heart, and because throughout your career you loved what you were doing. I only really have two questions. Maybe I should be more up on this, and director, maybe I should schedule some visitations. But I wanted to, because of your history and your extensive knowledge, how is the utilization of the libraries in general in these days? Does it get reasonable traffic in terms of our young people or anyone really just utilizing? I just wanted to get an idea of what the utilization continues to be.
Well, it gets used a lot, especially our computer stations, and they're mostly coming there for that. And then we have the e-books, and then now we have this new thing with the blind and that department. I had the opportunity to go to Hawaii with Director Serengen, and I did go to that library for the blind and there are new things and I believe we did receive some of it because our director has been working hard to get that. We are no longer getting these really big cassette players and we're getting there's this, it's like it's not like a cassette, like more like a CD where you can load maybe up to 15 books.
Wow.
Instead of checking out one book and playing it one at a time, you can load that and then you can read up to 15 books. I believe it's 15. So those are all the new things that the library is getting, our ebooks, and we're getting more of the laptops. So it really encourages more of our community to come in. And then now we are open on Saturdays.
Nice.
And we are seeing a lot of the children and parents come in on Saturdays. So we're really moving forward, and I just hope that, when we do present our budget, that they really seriously look at it. And we need it there at the library. And I know we get the IMLS grant, but we also need funding from the legislature, So, but yes, we are seeing a lot of activities at the library because now we have the Saturday programs. And of course, we still have, I believe on Wednesdays, where they have the toddler programs on Wednesdays. So we still see a lot of activities there. I know we missed the year before. You know how we have Dr. Seuss?
Yes.
It just brings in a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I really, really support that program. And we have our Easter program where the children come over and they do the Easter parade. And then, of course, we always have snacks and stuff, cake and snacks for them. So, yes, our library is moving forward. And I believe Director Seringen has brought our library up to the 20th century, you know, where before we used to just go through cards and card catalogs. Now everything is there. You need a book, you just open your computer and you find it.
Well, Director, it looks like your initial evaluation is going well. So yeah, you mentioned that you know, he's brought a lot of modernization on board, and so now is the time as the board member. You know, when you guys have your next meeting, we're right there on the heel of the budget. So you know, maybe if he needs some supplemental, do you want to speak, sir? I think this is a good opportunity. Go ahead, please.
The library that she's talking about, the correct name of the library is called National Library for the Blind and Print Disabled.
Very nice.
It's overseen by the Library of Congress, directly from the Library of Congress. And up to now, we are using the old method, which is to take the tape and give it to the patrons. So we drive there, literally drive to their home, and then give it to them. But the new system is everything is electronics, and in a device on a USB drive, we can put 15 to 20 books that Ms. Marissa was talking about. And we can load the books, 15 to 20 books, in a small device, and we can mail to them the courtesy of the Guam, the U.S. postal system. So we are trying to launch it. We have been going through a lot of training. We got the new system, the hardware, and the software. And in fact, there is going to be a conference that's going to be held sometime in September in Washington, D.C. And they are anxious to start this program in Guam. I understand there are more than 300 folks, blind people on Guam. Yeah. In our database, we have only 4. So we are trying to do the outreach program now. In fact, this week alone, we got 2 or 3 people sign up. And because we have put some publicity in the TV and newspapers, so people are signing up. And pretty soon, maybe before end of the year, by December, we will be full-fledged operation on that particular part of the library services.
Excellent, Doc. So under the evaluation, when it says modernization, you can check 5. Perfect. So just one final mention, you know, and it's great with the blind because, you know, there's been an individual on a radio program that I listen to frequently. Actually, she used to have a show on a former program, and she's here on Guam right now. Her name escapes me right now, maybe the chair, Jackie, and she's been very prolific. And so she lives in Washington State now, but she's so happy to be here during Liberation, and she brought a lot of the programs to offer to the government and been speaking, you know, openly about that. And so I bet she'll be very excited. She maybe already knows that you guys are launching this and have been launching it. And, yeah. So one final thing, Marissa, because when I was at Department of Youth Affairs, our youth centers really provided a lot of outlets for our kids. You know, they do their aftercare there, and that's where they do a lot of their work on the computers as well. Sometimes GED preparation, things like that. So are the libraries actively involved as well for those kind of programs, like GED prep for testing and things like that? Doc?
We are in a process of getting that tutoring program for the kids with the collaboration of Serve Guam, AmeriCorps, and they are going through the training, and DOE is offering about 30 computers to be used for these students. And for as far as getting the resource, and now we have ebooks, we have invested almost $120,000 worth of books, and if you go to our website, you will see books, audio books, and those are very popular. We thought it won't be that popular, but people are still reading those books. So I'm pretty sure from high school level and from different communities, hospitals, and these people are borrowing those books.
Exciting. I look forward to voting in favor of your confirmation. It sounds like you're really got a good synergy going with your director. And just in closing, my father taught me when I was a young boy the importance of reading, because he said to me, son, you know, reading creates the theater in the mind. And that's how you learn. That's one of the most fundamentals of what you're doing when you're learning, because you're reading, and in your mind you're creating pictures of things that how you would see them based on what you're reading, and that's why it expands your mind, expands your knowledge. So I always try to tell our young people reading is so important, because the development of the mind is so important. So thank you very much, and you certainly have my support with your tenure of experience and everything else. Get the evaluation going. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Chris. Senator Chris Barnett.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity. And thank you again, Mrs. Mears, for your service. Wow, there's a lot of great testimony in favor of your reappointment, so that's very encouraging. And also, I'm enjoying what appears to be a good working relationship that you have with the director. And yeah, I have to agree, there's been a lot of modernization with the public library system. That's also very encouraging. We're talking about the audio books and the books for the blind. Took me back to when I was in high school, which, wasn't as far back as some might think. I used to read books for a friend of mine, Lee Perez, who was visually impaired, and so kind of took me back to that. But it also took me back to being in high school and middle school. One thing that I really enjoyed from the Guam Public Library system was being able to use the village library, right? Because, back then it was... we grew up very poor, and so that was just one of the things that we did to escape from the day, right? We didn't have the VHS or whatever, so it'd always be about going to the library and picking out some good books. I always enjoyed reading books about spies and fantasy novels and just anything, entertaining. So that being said, I'm not sure where we are with the village libraries. I know that we're doing the one in Hoggett, but do you think that the village libraries play a crucial role in the future of the Guam Public Library system, ma'am? The village library?
Yes, of course. In the villages, we do have a lot of patrons there, and I don't know, I think I didn't understand the question, but yes, we do have a lot of patrons that uses the village libraries, and that is the reason why we're hoping that we can open it to at least 5 days a week, but we need the staff to operate the libraries.
So which villages do you have the libraries in? And I'm aware that I know that you're not able to open them 5 days a week.
Well, I think I believe Dedido is open.
Right now, we have one library in Dedido, which is open 5 days a week. The other library in Agate is open for 3 days a week. And Jonia, Malesso, and Berigada, all of them are open 2 days a week. And these are if you come to any time, any of the library, and you will see how much it's being utilized. And we wanted to open 5 days a week at least, just for information for the public. And our libraries are open now 6 days a week, from Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the Agania Library. And Saturday we are open from 9 to 1 o'clock. And the Friday only, because of the training purposes, we open at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we close it at 3 o'clock. So we have been increasing the hours and increasing the services, and people come from all walks of life and making use of the library. Now, if you have been to the States, one time everybody thought the library is going to be dead and gone. Now, if you go to the mainland, any libraries, you would see the amount of people that use the libraries. It's amazing. The new building structure, the services, and amazing. Our library is located at the heart of Guam, including all our branch libraries are located in the hearts of villages. And we wanted the public to come there in the afternoon, so we can open like about till 8 o'clock. People can bring those kids, and parents can help doing their schoolwork and things like that. That's one of our dreams. Hopefully someday that is going to happen with your help.
So it's just basically a funding issue, and,
Yes.
and you're asking the chair for more funding so that you can get more staff out to these village libraries and and have them open, right? That is the ideal, Madam Vice Chair?
Yes, Madam Chair has a...
Okay. Before, there's two library technicians to each village library. Now, it's only one. And the only reason why that they open is because of the custodian being there, because you cannot leave just one person in the library. It's not safe. So for them to open, that they always have to have 2 people in the library. And in Jonia right now, I believe they have the AmeriCorps there. The AmeriCorps are working out of Jonia Library, so they are open now 3 days a week, I believe. Mr. Sarangan can really answer more of these questions.
So the purpose of the AmeriCorps there is not to take away any of the jobs of the library staff. They are
Support.
to provide their other services like tutoring and things like that.
Thank you, sir.
So they are not there to replace any of the staff or
Correct.
anything. But it helps when they are there. People, the library technician, feel that
Yeah,
some
and we
other
thank the
people
AmeriCorps for all the work
Yeah.
that they do,
Yes,
the
yes.
programs that they have.
That's awesome. Madam Vice Chair, could you just please elaborate, because you said you can't have just one person in the library because it's not safe. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, if you notice where the libraries are located, like the Dededo Library there, there's a lot of traffic in the area also. And if you're by yourself in there and somebody walks in, and we, back then maybe we can feel safe, but not anymore. I mean, they just had somebody that, that lady that got raped by 3, it's right there by the library. It's right there by the path, behind the mayor's office or somewhere there. And then if you know where Jonia is located, it's, they need to fence it in because the residents are right there. They have their dogs there. You can't even, our custodian can't even go out to cut the grass on this side because the dogs are there. They're tied to the whatever, lemon tree or whatever, but you don't want to get bit by that. But what I'm saying is that for safety, because you cannot rely on your custodian, everybody have to have a lunch break, So when he leaves, and we leave that the library's open, the full 8 hours, there's that 1 hour gap when our custodian leaves to have lunch, that you are alone in that library.
Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting that, and I agree, right? This is the methamphetamine epidemic and the crime and the homelessness. It's so bad that we have the librarians now are scared to be alone in the library. So I definitely commend you for your service, ma'am. It appears you're very, very dedicated, having been in a library system since when, 1973? I was negative 1 year old.
Yeah.
Right, so congratulations and thank you again for all the experience that you bring to the Guam Public Library System Board, madam. And I do also look forward to voting for your reappointment. Si Duos Masi, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Senator Barnett. I do want to note for the record that I received a message from some of the staff members of the Guam Public Library. There's Mr. Jesse and Linda Uggan, and they asked if the message could be relayed to the Oversight Chair, saying that they give their full support for the board member and that they wish they would have been here, but just to give their support. We also have another member who is writing to give the full support to Mrs. Marissa Q. Meeks to continue being on the GPLS board. Should you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact her, and that is Ms. Francine Reina M. Unchenko. I do want to...
Madam Chair, if I may, since you're naming it off, I also got a message that Nicole Nelson also gives her full support for your confirmation too as well.
Thank you, Senator Taitagui. I truly appreciate that one also. And again, for the record, Dr. Matilda Napati Rivera, Mr. Flores, who's the chair, Ms. June Afflegui, and Ms. Janelle Garrido Cruz, all letters of support. I had a couple of questions about, what are the exciting things coming up, or what do you have and what you need, and we know it's the resources, and we've been working closely with Dr. Chris, Executive Director here, to see how we can get the funding that is due to the library, working closely with the Department of Education, and I hope with the support of our colleagues that we will continue to try and get the money that's due to you back into the public library. But I'm truly impressed. I know that Senator Amanda and I were competing because we have our library cards. I still have it in my purse, and I want to say thank you. The Dr. Seuss program, the updating of the library, the books, even working with the folks in D.C., just what you have today for the blind, and just bringing the kids back. And you also noted something about the parents, having the parents come back. And maybe, hopefully, with our continued efforts of getting the resources into the Guam Public Library system, that we will get those libraries open on a full-time basis. And with the programs, with the government of Guam working like with the AmeriCorps and all that, we can probably work some MOUs, and that's thinking outside the box. We can continue those programs. But with that being said, we want to thank everybody for being here, my colleagues for also being here this morning. We have exhausted the names on the sign-in sheet, and I will go ahead and note for the record, if anybody else wishes to present testimony on behalf of Mrs. Mears, they can do so by sending it to Senator Muña Barnes at guamlegislature.org or at 411 West Saladot Avenue, Hagatna, Guam, 96910. If there is no one else wishing to say anything further, I will say the appointment of Mrs. Mears, let me get your full name, Marissa Q. Mears, has been publicly heard, and this is from the Committee on Human Resources, Hagatna Revitalization, Regional Affairs, Public Libraries, Telecommunications Technology, and Federal and Foreign Affairs. So this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much, and again, happy 80th Liberation to each and every one of you. We hope to see you at the parade. Enjoy your weekend, and see you soon in DC. Sana masi.
Thank you.
Okay.